Episode 6, The Unmasking. The grand halls of the palace felt colder than ever as Aster was escorted to the king's chamber. His father, King Roland, stood waiting, his expression a mixture of anger and disappointment. Beside him, Henry stood with a smug smile, clearly enjoying the prince's predicament. "Aster," the king began sternly, "I have been informed of your nightly escapades into the village. Do you realize the danger you've put yourself in? And for what? Pretending to be a commoner." Aster lowered his head, guilt weighing heavily on his shoulders. "Father, I wanted to see what life was like outside these walls. To understand the people I'm meant to rule." King Roland's eyes softened slightly at his son's honesty, but Henry was quick to interject. "Your Majesty, while the prince's intentions may seem noble, his actions have compromised the palace's security. Who knows what the villagers might do with this knowledge? They did nothing wrong." Aster snapped, his voice rising. "They are kind, hard-working people who only want a better life. They treated me like one of their own." "Enough," the king barked, silencing the argument. "Aster, you are confined to the palace until further notice. This foolishness ends now." Henry's smirk widened as Aster was dismissed. The young prince left the room, frustration boiling inside him. The walls of the palace now felt like a cage, and the thought of being cut off from Chris made his chest ache. In the village, Chris tried to push thoughts of Aster from his mind, but it was impossible. The wooden cat carving he had given Aster sat on his workbench, a painful reminder of their time together. Chris didn't know what hurt more, Aster's lies or the way he had been dragged away like a prisoner. The next evening, Chris heard a commotion in the marketplace. A group of villagers was huddled together, whispering and pointing at a royal messenger who stood in the square, unfurling a scroll. "Hear this," the messenger announced. "Prince Aster, heir to the throne, has been forbidden from leaving the palace grounds due to recent transgressions. Let this be a warning to those who dare to meddle in royal affairs." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Chris's heart sank as he realized how deeply Aster's secret life had affected not just him but the entire village. Whispers of suspicion and fear began to spread. "Do you think he used us for fun?" one villager asked. "Playing at being poor?" "No," Chris said firmly, stepping forward. "He's not like that." His voice wavered, but he stood his ground. "Aster." He hesitated, swallowing his own doubts. Aster was genuine. He wanted to understand us. The villagers exchanged uncertain glances, but Chris's words held weight. Back at the palace, Aster paced his room, desperate to find a way to fix things. He couldn't let Henry's manipulation and his father's strictness ruin everything he had built. Taking a deep breath, he hatched a plan. If he couldn't go to the village, he would find another way to reach Chris. Late that night, Aster scribbled a letter, pouring his heart onto the page. He explained his reasons for hiding his identity, his admiration for Chris, and his determination to bridge the gap between their worlds. Carefully sealing the letter, he gave it to a trusted palace servant with a clear message. "Deliver this to the carver in the village. No one else must see it,